This is iRacing.
As Championship Saturday comes to an end, there's only one place for IMSA Vintage, the home of the old Grand Prix of Sonoma here at what used to be Sears Point Raceway, used to be Infineon Raceway. It is now Sonoma Raceway. For the second time in over a year, the championship gets decided in the vineyards. And will it be Cal Young or Johan van Hicks who will be lifting the GTO trophy after 40 minutes of racing? We'll find out today. It's round 12 of the IMSA Vintage Series, live here on the Global Sim Racing Channel, brought to you here by me, Craig King, with the booth today of Alex Goldsmith and our director, Daniel Costello, using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. If you're someone of my age, you would have known of this track on some console games, but if you've only known about it due to iRacing, let's go down to a GSRC track guide to tell you more about this track.
Welcome to Sonoma Raceway. One of California's most famous road courses, it resides just north of San Francisco. It's been host to a wide variety of styles of racing, including sports cars, Indy cars, motorcycles, and even drag racing. But in recent decades, it's become most well known for holding one of NASCAR's rare road course weekends. For most tracks, this cornucopia would be a stretch, but considering the array of 5 different layouts to choose from, it's quite easy for the circuit to be adapted to any series needs. Most of the layouts clock in at around 2 to 2.5 miles in length and always feature an impressive amount of elevation change. This means many of the corners present the driver with a blind entry or apex. Some of these have a very distinct visual look, making them instantly recognizable. Corners such as the chute and the final hairpin feature street course-like walls surrounding the track, while the carousel is both picturesque and challenging. With few long straights, passing is often considered very difficult, but it rarely leaves races with a lack of action. Mistakes can be easy to make, offering opportunities for the brave. And it's not just the track itself which is tough. The pit entry's narrow path requires precise driving for those looking to make up time and leapfrog their competitors during stops. With more than 40 years of racing under its belt, Sonoma has become a staple for West Coast race fans. And what could be better than a glass of vino on a sunny hillside while the sound of engines echo around you?
Well, the track's taken a little bit of an update visually, but it's still the same vineyards around here, Alex, and I'll let you do the track guide while I just find myself a nice bottle of wine.
Yes, well, California is, of course, wine country. This place originally known as Sears Point Raceway before it changed due to sponsorship, known as Infineon Raceway until 2012, and now we know it as Sonoma Raceway. Opened back in December of 1968, measures 2.53 miles and 16 turns in all. Very, very close to the West Coast coastline, so you might be able to find a beach or two nearby. I still remember Tony Kanaan roaring around in an old school McLaren that was driven by the late Ayrton Senna, which he documented in his YouTube channel. I think it was late last year or some point, but it's a hell of a track. Elevation, tight technical parts of the circuit, and minimal places for passing. But that's also going to cause problems with regards to the GTPs trying to cross over and get through on the GTOs here, Craig.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a blessing for the drivers that it did split today. 56 drivers, near enough. So that means that all the top drivers fighting for the championships are here today in this race. And we'll go to those standings because the GTP championship has been sealed up for 2 weeks now. Jacob Reed will have a swan song in the GTPs today. He doesn't need to worry. But behind him, look how close it is. Gabriel Martinez, Valenteus, Christopher Lesajak. What's interesting, none of those drivers have a drop week. This is going to be their 9th, 10th, and 8th races respectively. I think I got those numbers right. So whoever comes out on top will be the person who will get second, and then whoever gets that second place will be in third. So you get the idea there, but the rest of the championship in the top 10, just look at it. Farron Grauin, 68 points behind. He's all on his lonesome. Jack Wells, Lance Olsen, David Ricciardi, and Brendan Lim, and then Seamus Power. Just 7 points separates the bottom 5 drivers. This is going to be all about bragging rights between those 5, and I'm looking, they're all here today. Alex, the GTOs, very complicated. We'll get to that later.
Yes, definitely. I mean, maths aren't always my strong point when it comes to things like this, but Joran Verhickse leads on 214 points, ahead of Cal Young, 15 adrift. Noel Luneberg, Andreas Schuster, and Mickey Frierson round out your top 5, covered by 87. Elke Cotisalo, Josephine Becker, Fabian Jungbluth, Marcin Krejcik, and Josh Brain round out your top 10. And the biggest thing is with regards to the fact that Joran wins if he gets P1 outright, he would have the tiebreaker. But it all comes down to one final race.
Yeah, it all comes down to one final race. Cal would get the championship with a P1 or a P2 outright. So that's going to be very interesting to see what happens later on today. But we got to get there first. And before we get there, we've got to look at the race detail, because it's the final round. Round 12 of 12, 40 minutes around this fantastic track. And it's an open setup. Use the iRacing setup. Use the setup you've made, or use the community setup. But if you crash, your day is done. There is no spare car out there today, but there is a drive-through at 17 incident points. It will be a disqualification at 25 incident points. I kind of feel that we won't see that. We may see the drive-throughs out there today. And I'm just looking at qualifying, and it's a good thing incident points don't count in qualifying, because Valenteus is in a GTO today. He's basically surrendered his chance for the podium in the championship in the GTP. He doesn't care. He's here for fun. So he's just doing some drifts out there. He's going to do a last to first, and being there's only 15 GTOs, it could be a very close or easy day for him, deciding on how he wants to do that. All the times are now coming in. Jacob Reed just coming down to the final few corners of the lap. The infamous horseshoe here that caused some issues during some NASCAR races. Not so much nowadays, because it's a nice concrete barrier there.
Yeah, but anyone that has that concrete barrier in their foresight will be thinking, oh dear, what have I done to deserve this, before all panels start shedding carbon fiber here, there, or everywhere. But yeah, we always know that Jacob Reed is a very, very hard pusher, but you can see by the track elevation, it is just one of those circuits that you really need to wring the neck of the car, whether it be the Nissan GTP or the Audi 90 GTO. You've just got to be very, very careful. And as you said, those barriers kind of reminds me a little bit of Willow Springs. There's a lot of runoff area, but there's a lot of dusty runoff area. So one wrong move, and you could find yourself spinning around hard into the barriers, and that's it, game over.
Yeah, and you don't want it game over today, not with everything on the line, as Jacob Reed will come on through into the very lovely S's section of the track. And in multi-class, this is actually kind of a challenge around here. When you get to the traffic, got to pick the times and into this final hairpin. This is going to be a very good overtaking spot later in the race. But for Jacob, it's a little bit of a swan song. Didn't get the victory he wanted last night on the GP World Tour, the new live series all the time on the F1 Championship weekends on the GSRC channel. But today he's looking for another victory, and he just continues to hammer on good times. It's not faster. It doesn't matter. It's fast enough.
Yeah, Noel Luneberg is going to now start to gear up for what could be a pretty quick lap here. He's around about 14th at the moment. Valentasius has had a black flag down at the bottom of the order. And Luneberg straight away goes in at pole position in the 90 GTO. Would we expect anything less of him? Not really.
Well, not really. Well, let's hope not either. But it's also interesting. Olezajak now coming across the line. What's he going to set? It's close, but it's not close enough to beat Jacob Reed. And he's just done now for the day. But look at the timing tower. He's ahead of Gabriel Martinez. And he needs more points to get ahead of Martinez for that title. Well, not that title, for that podium. Keeping is, though, if Valenteus is not in the GTPs today, it will be between Olezajak and Martinez to see who gets second and who gets third, as Lundberg will be coming on by one last time. Last man Reed to set some times. I see Mascara doing some practice lap. I see Valenteus just enjoying some drifting right now. The S is now, for GTO, very tough.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to watch here as we see Luneberg getting it all kind of crossed up. You can see he's struggling with a lot of distinct understeer through that particular section that we've just been riding on board through with him. And I think he's just having a bit of a giggle now, and like understeers off into the dirt. Hey, I'm having a bit of fun, says Noel. But you know, when you look at it, he really does need to. I mean, he's putting on a bit of a is showing what quattro's really all about here, folks.
Just drift it, and why not? He knows he's got that pole position by the barest of margins to his championship rival. But if they finish where they start, well, that championship is staying with, well, not staying, it's going to Van Hicks. But let's go over the grid. And it's two small grids today due to the split, but that's going to produce, I think, a very interesting race on Championship Saturday. Jacob Reed will be your pole sitter in the GTPs. Alongside him will be Aleza Jack, with Nicholas McCanos making a return in third. Gabriel Martinez will be fourth, followed by Brendan Lim in fifth. Seamus Power will take sixth. Heike 360, Javier Sanchez is back into seventh. Raul Roches Garde will be alongside him in eighth. Oleski Aloma will be ninth, and Fabian Jungbluth 10, with just three more drivers on the next page, as Timu Toika will be in 11th. Javier Mascara will be 12th. And Jonathan Oshalim will take that 13th. Bit of a bigger field for the GTOs, but still, it's a lower number than you usually expect.
Yeah, 15 in total. Noah Lundberg takes pole position away from Cal Young by, what was it, 67 thousandths of a second. Mickey Frierson and Jack David Spickett round out row 2 with Jukko Leskala and Ilkka Kottisalo. Try saying that quickly, folks. They round out row 3. Andreas Schuster and Martin Shirley round out row 4, with Joran van Hikse and Doug Cloud completing the top 10. Then we go over the page. 15 cars in the Audi 90 GTO side of things. Josephine Becker lines up on the inside of row 6 with Roman Bello alongside. Martin Krejcik and Aldrius Valentejus and Josh Brain round out the 15 GTOs ready for the final battle here at Sonoma.
15 GTOs, 13 GTPs, and it's a full formation lap, and that will help some of these drivers just keep the tires a little bit warm. It is a cold day for the likes of California here. It's the middle of the day, but it's only a 34 Celsius track temp. It's about 93 Fahrenheit for those in California at the moment, to give you a little bit of a rundown of exactly what we're looking at in terms of temperatures. Don't think the wind will play too much of a factor today. In fact, there's none. There's none out there today for the drivers, so they won't have to worry too much about that. But they have to worry. This is a fresh, updated look to Sonoma. That was updated, I believe it was last season or the season before on iRacing. So it's the first time these drivers have tackled the quote-unquote new look Sonoma. But it's like the Led Zeppelin song. The song's still the same. It's still that same tricky track that they're used to. And I love this part. I'm glad they don't do this in NASCAR anymore, Alex. But this is the GT layout, as I call it nowadays, the long layout. Down this little these double hairpins here. It just adds characteristics to this track.
Well, any track with elevation, Craig, always provides that sort of certain je ne sais quoi. And here in Sonoma, it's a great fitting way. But then the interesting thing that I'm going to be looking out for is how quickly all the GTPs start to lap the GTOs. And with regards to obviously the championship permutations, I have not got a calculator by my side. I'm not wanting to do numbers, because all I want to see is some great racing.
Yeah, well, I have a calculator in my head. We've got the permutations written down, and I'm sure the drivers will be talking about that as well. A lot of drivers are interested, and a lot of viewers are interested, and probably got their own maths to work out here on the championship standings. We know what positions are required. The question then comes into how do the numbers work, and as we come down to the drag strip through into this this double apex, or this double apex hairpin, as I like to call it, and then to the S's. Very fun point of this track that I do like is, with this layout, it's just a straight curve, a little bit of a weave, and then it goes on to the turn 10. If this was IndyCar, there was an IndyCar did race around here, you do the S's there, you just go straight on right there, and you just see a very tight chicane. You don't want to do that in anything that's not an open wheeler. Trust me, I have tried. I have seen Mazdas do it. It's not the best of things. So we'll stick to what we know. And what we know is sports car racing, as the GTOs, not a big gap there, I feel like, for the moment. However, they know that they can slow it down because the pit lane entry is quite early. In fact, it's right before turn 11. So that means that the drivers in the lead, Jacob Reed, will have a good chance to just set the pace of this starters. The pace car, the Porsche safety car will dart in. The lights are red in the pit lane. He's just crossed the closed pit lane. What's the safety car doing? He's getting us ready for 40 minutes of IMSA Vintage. Let's do it one last time for the season. On Championship Saturday, Jacob Reed will lead them to the line, and he holds them very much and then guns it right around the final corner. They will go guns blazing right now. And Alessa Jack, Mikado, is going to look to see if he can make a move onto Alessa Jack right away. Won't get it done. He will get it done. That's the only overtake happening. A lot of overtake happening in the GTOs, though.
Yeah, Lundeberg's got the launch that he needed. Jack David Spickett now ahead of Mickey Frierson. Leskinen and Cortisalo are holding station. But there was a big moment there for Cortisalo, who's dropped all the way to the tail end of the field.
Yeah, I think Cortisalo might have just had a little bit of a tapper. I think he may have just lost it himself. Yeah, just rode the curve too much there. And he goes around. Going to have to go back. Valenteus is having a little bit of an excursion. He's done his drifting, but he still wants to go and do some dirt racing. And this isn't the rallycross layout, despite they would go up this hill for rallycross. You kind of don't want to be doing that in these guys. You want to be going down the hill. He's already up 2. Granted, one of those would have been due to Cortisalo spinning, and a little bit of a touch moment at the front there. There's Martin Shirley going around with Josephine Becker, and Becker's gone around as well, and that started due to something else that happened with Shirley. I can't remember who it was, but Shirley having a small moment there with Doug Cloud as they were coming through that double right-hander at 7.
Well, this is also helping Joran van Hikse, who's now up into P7, 20th overall, has made up 2 places. Valentasius has just been profiting from it. He's up 5 spots already, and the GTOs are not even at the end of lap 1. Well, they are getting to it now.
Yeah, getting to it now. Van Hicks needs to start climbing, and we've got my name from, of course, Noel Lundberg. We can't win the championship. You can only get at best a P2 if the stats go his way, but you will have to just wait as well. As Hugo Leskala is now up the field as well, trying to battle Mickey Friesen. The only driver in the top 10 to lose places at the start. Let's have a quick look at the GSRC replay to see what happened here with Martin Shirley. And it's tough to outrate somebody going into this corner. And yet, Doug straight away, he realized he was a bit too hot. Those curbs, you mount them, you fly. It feels a little bit like Nordschleife light out there.
Yeah, and then he gets attacked from behind. And then completely mashes the throttle and then stops it on a sixpence. Well held.
Well held. I don't know if it's a sixpence round here. It might be a 50-cent piece or a dime. Yeah, one or the other, regardless. Could be a nickel. We'll nickel and dime them for every moment they got. That's what we're going to have to see with Van Hicks today. He'll have to nickel and dime to get his way up. But I see damage at the front of that car already. Yeah, Van Hicks does have damage to the front of that car. Already 4 seconds behind Lundberg and about 3 seconds behind Cao Young. And if he's got damage on these little areas here, he won't be struggling too much because it's not a track full of high speed around here. That will help him. The Schuster goes a little bit wide. That should also help him, but he could not take advantage. Now he's going to go into it a bit. Schuster realizes the moment, takes the lift as well. Lexington goes by. Try and fight it going into turn 1 or turn 2, as they now say. Nothing yet. I think Van Hicks has got Valenteus a couple of cars behind him. Maybe might want to use Valenteus to help him punch a hole through this traffic.
Yeah, I mean, the next person on Van Hicks's hit list is Leskala. Obviously, we saw that drama with Cortisalo early doors. So, Jukka Leskala, the man from Finland, in the number 6 car, closing in on Mickey Frierson in the number 13, just up ahead. But even with that significant amount of front-end damage to the bumper and to the bonnet of Joran van Hikse, it is not slowing him down. I'm just looking at his last lap time, a 1:30.645, and he was less than 2/10 off of this man here, Jukka Leskala.
Yeah, and I think that's actually a really good thing to look at because that will allow him to just take advantage of that when the traffic starts to hit, and he is catching the back of Leskala. Leskala still holds on here, trying to work his way to try and make Friesen make a mistake out there, and That's going to be tough through this SS section as you're on the brakes constantly, feathering the throttle. You're not looking at going down a gear in these GTOs around there. Really tough, really. But, I mean, with the new updates coming out, with a new gearbox coming, you might want to look at changing a gear around there because you won't be afraid to lose the gearbox nowadays. But you won't be doing that at the moment. And there is Leslie. He's got a bit of damage on the front of that car. Not as much as Van Hicks. I think if we're going back to what we were saying last week, I would say Van Hicks has got the Elvis impersonation. I think Leslie doing a nice little normal cosplay.
Yeah, we head back to the GTPs as Seamus Parron, the number 18, the Irishman, trying to close in on Brendan Lim, who's got, now Brendan Lim, I salute you. Wonderful silk cut livery tribute there. Any livery looks good on a Nissan GTP, let's be honest, Craig.
Providing it's not like a modern day F1 livery, I do agree with you there, or throw some energy drink sponsors on it. And yes, I do agree with you. Just think, this car won in 1988 and 1989 with Jack Brabham behind the wheel. There's a reason this car's in the IMSA Hall of Fame, just due to its pedigree, and this is one of those tracks that it really got to spread its wings. And I do miss seeing multi-class racing around this track because it's just a joy. You see the GT World Challenge America come here nowadays. You don't see anything else around Roger Gardia, number 15 car, just behind these two, trying to just wait for the opportunity. And to be fair, as the leaders start to hit traffic in the GTPs, I think his opportunity will come in a couple laps.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's just waiting and picking your moments, and if you can use the GTO back marker traffic to your advantage, what you want to do is try and stick one car in between you and the person that's chasing you down. As we ride on board with the Spaniard, who we saw in some great racing at the finale of the Skip Barber Series. Oh, and we've had a disconnect. Olenijak has just had a disconnect, thanks to our producer Daniel Costello for giving us the heads up on that. So that is a real shame for the number 9.
And that could be the championship standings in the GTPs decided. He might come out and get some points, and that may allow him to just keep ahead of Valenteus. But it does mean that Gabri Martinez, if he keeps on driving today, will seal up P2 in the championship, as Raul Roches Guardia was trying to look for a hole that probably wasn't there. But he is going to do it. Christoph comes back into the race. If Gabri Martinez had the crash, you may see some changes here. But here's Jacob Reed losing a lot of time through the traffic, and more time as well, trying to push around Josephine Becker to get through that middle. He made a mistake. I need to get through. And now the toughest part of the track for multi-class. Try and find your way around these GTOs, around the S's, get through 2 in one go. And I have to slow down for Martin Kraytrick, or will he? No, just finds a hole and makes a timer.
Oh, talk about thread of the eye of the needle, Jacob Reed. You were definitely giving it more and then some. Meantime, just been keeping an eye on Van Hicks to watch at the moment here, Craig. He is closing in to Lescler. The gap between them is about 0.3 of a second. Now, the way things work, that if Cal Young finishes P2, is again, this is side by side, this is not going to go well. Seamus Power has Raul Roches Guardia through on him. That is for P5. And then they've got Xavier Sanchez not that far behind. They've got the 26 in there in the mix too. That's Josephine Becker. And this is what IMSA Vintage is all about, folks. You've got 2 very different classes fighting for the same bit of real estate at the same circuit. And Jungbluth, to the outside goes the German. Can't quite get through. And look at this. Jungbluth to the outside, gets through. And that is a change through on Xavier Sanchez, who went to the inside. The amount of steering angle that Sanchez had to put on to keep out of the way. Jungbluth just saw an opportunity, went, yep, right, throttle down, here we go.
Yeah, I think Sanchez, and he had to just make a very fast reaction. Lost the balance of the car there. And that's how he lost that position to Fabian Jungbluth. Johan Van Hicks still looking to see if he can get some places. He needs the places right now. And it's a traffic jam here on the place of the track that always felt like it was a car park. And yet, Raul Roches Guardia through, let Brendan Lim through. Valenteus is patiently waiting him. Give respect to Valenteus. He knows the situation. He will want to fight, but he won't want to ruin Van Hix's race because he knows that he needs to keep on fighting. Does look for a little bit of an opportunity there, saying, come on, let's get going. But Young's going to be like, there's a GTP in front of me. What do you want me to do? I can't go on too far. He has lost time to Leskola due to the traffic. Going to get it back, though, and they are halfway, almost near the end of the GTP traffic. I'm going to knock on wood. It's been pretty calm at the moment.
Yeah, and the thing is that Joran van Hixer needs to be, if he's P2, he's currently P6 at the moment, he needs Cal Young to be P4 or worse. If he's third, he needs Young to be fifth or lower. So at the moment, Cal Young has got the advantage his way, but the gaps are, I mean, oh dearie me, like literally, guys.
Where do you look?
I mean, where do you look? Where do you turn to? And this is one of the things I love about IMSA Vintage. It keeps us up here in the booth guessing, like, who's going to throw it where, who's going to the outside, who's going to the inside, and at what corner.
But also at the same time, you've got to give a shout out to our director today, because this is tough. And can you imagine more drivers out here today? We almost had a 55 car big field out here today. We did not. And I think that would have just provided a lot more carnage out there and a lot more chaos. And the director would have been earning his wage packet today. With Javier Mascara still trying to make his way through. Best of runs, but nice to see Javier back as well in the distinctive pink car. Yes, we know it's a video game inspired livery there. He's going to nerf this in a minute if he hits a wall. Not having the best of days, already up 2 places. But remember, a lot of these drivers at the back, they'll be up a place due to Christoph having that disconnect. He is back, he's a lap down, so he is trying to get points. But I think it's going to give that championship to Gabriel Martinez unless he has an issue. Noel Lundberg has a very nice lead over Cal Young. It's just another day in the office in his final race as defending champion.
Yeah, and also the fact that Jack David Spickett is over 5.5 seconds behind Valentasius to the inside of Van Hixer. That's through for 6th. And as you rightly pointed out, Craig, Valentasius is, you know, decided, oh yeah, I'm going to drop yourself down to GTOs, have a little bit of fun. But the biggest thing is that can he start to bring along Joran van Hixer with 28 minutes to go? Because look, Leskola's not that far away, neither is Frierson, neither is Spickett. So we've got, well, we've got more than a quintet of cars. We've got 6 GTOs in a row, rounded out by Andreas Schuster, I believe, in the number 8. So this train, if they start picking up the pace led by Spickett, anything's possible in the next 27.5 minutes.
Crikey, it sounds like it's Stingray right now. Anything can happen in the next 27 minutes. And what can happen, Jonathan Oshalem could be trying to get the position. Timo Toika right ahead as well, trying to see if he can get past the Finn. Will be very interesting as well. Yeah, you were talking about that with Valenteus as well. He won the Triple Crown last week, took the GCO victory, took the victory in the 79, the victories in the 49, got the Triple Crown, and he drives for the fun of it. So he'll know he won't be getting a top 3 in the GTP Championship. It does not matter to him. But Jonathan O'Shallen maybe would like to see if he could get up into the top 10. Gonna need to find a way past Timu and then find 6 seconds on Javier Mascara. But every position counts here today in the top split. So I do wonder what he can do. Jack David Spickett, what can he do? He can put pressure on pressure on pressure. But Mickey Friesen is trying to get by him and would love to get by him. And look at that gap now between Jack David Spickett in P3 and Noel Lundberg. It's 7 seconds, sorry.
Yeah, it's getting longer and longer. Here comes Valentasius to the inside. Oh, and a bit of trail braking. I think that was from Mickey Frierson. Valentasius close to the wall as they're going to come up the hill through the start-finish complex. Valentasius, it doesn't matter what you put him in, he seems to have an absolute riot behind the wheel in every single car he pilots. So I think this could be the opportunity that if Valentasius decides to get through on the 3 in front and bolts away from Jack David Spickett, who knows what might occur, because could he bring that gap down? But that's going to be easier said than done.
I don't know, with all the tyre wear he's had to do right now and following in the dirty air, he'd be able to pull that time back. He'd give it a shot. He'd give it a good shot, and he might finish a lap short of trying to catch up to the back of Cal Young and Noel Lundberg. But that's an interesting battle that is still brewing. But this is the closest battle on the field. And welcome, if you've never been here before, to the GTO train. It might not be the leaders, but this is all for P3. And we're coming up to the halfway stage shortly. All of these drivers are battling for that last spot on the podium. And as you can see, as they come through this S's complex once again, nowhere to go for overtake, nowhere to look. And these new curbs are really throwing drivers off here. We've seen those incidents with Doug Cloud before. We saw as well, you've got Salo having a moment earlier today at the start of the race. These curbs are raised now, and they are having issues as Valentea's looking for a lunge onto Lescala. It's tough to go late braking. You saw the smoke there. Woman is papering, as they say.
Yeah, whereas it's still advantage Cal Young in the number 7. He's now 1.1 seconds behind Noel Lundberg, who is just having a lot of fun at the end of qualifying because he knew he'd pretty much sewn up pole position. But Cal Young, I think at this point here, Craig, he feels that he's still got a chance. I mean, that gap has been fluctuating anywhere between 0.6 and 1.1 seconds. But if Lundberg, the man from the Netherlands in the number 5 car, who is just trying to run away with it, the gap's gone up to the highest it's been just a second ago. It was 1.4 seconds. So Lundberg's really feeling quite comfortable, and Cal Young seems to be equally as comfortable in second position. But sometimes when you want to win a title, you want to do that as the man that hits victory lane.
Yeah, you want to be that man that gets that W, because that just makes everything so sweeter. No one wants to stand on the second spot, the second rung of the podium, and then also receive the championship title. No, they want to make sure they win it straight fair enough. Maybe Newblith and Javier Sanchez, they've been having a nice little battle the last few laps, and Sanchez getting by. Now we're looking at this battle at the back of the field in the top 10. Martin Cratchit, Roman Bello, Josh Brain, Josephine Becker, all battling it out for the last spot of the top 10. So you've got that big battle for P3. You've got this big battle for the rest of them for 10th spot. And speaking of people in P3, here's Gabri Martinez right on the back of Nicholas Buchanos. Haven't seen Nicholas for a while. They're in a little bit of a battle, but more overtakes happening. Can Bello keep this on? Now he's lost out to Josh Brain. Will he lose out to Josephine Becker? Up the hill they'll go. Now into turn 2, almost touched each other. Almost had her coming together. Josephine's got the inside. Really nice work around the outside. They'll be 3 wide for a very short moment. And Josephine doesn't know where Roman is and has to just almost accidentally touch each other there and hit on the sideswipe. But Josephine, after a while, gets that move done.
Yeah, plus also she was very close to the wall on the right-hand side of the circuit coming through the start-finish complex, and she was very close to grazing the right side fenders on that Audi 90, as Mickey Frierson has got Valenticius to his outside. That's a change for 4th position, and as we know, Andreas always likes to get his elbows out, and this is bringing in Lescala and Van Hixer. Van Hixer still with that very heavy damaged front end. As I said, it's not slowing him down. His last lap was a 1:30.7. He was quicker by 1/10 and a half in comparison with Lescala. So there is an opportunity here. If Van Hixer sees the door open, there is going to be no secondary hesitation at all from the number 3.
And that's what he needs. We're on board with Mickey, where's the bang part? I think he's got a new position for his microphone, or probably got a new microphone there, as you don't know, people who do remember his microphone's always in front of his face when he's got the camera. You never see him, so now we get to see him, and I see a new mount on his shifter. A couple of weeks ago he had a moment, Lescala's gone around in front, and I think he just got a bit too close to the back of Mickey Friesen there. And yeah, that's what it was. Got too close to the back of Mickey Friesen. Run over the curve as well. The car got upset. He goes around. That 1 position for Van Hicks. Now he's going to watch out, because behind him, Chambers Power, with a move, manages around the outside of the carousel to get past Brendan Lim.
Oh, they go one side and then the other. Brendan Lim to the inside, Seamus Power to the outside of Mickey Frierson, who had to just brace himself for the onslaught that was coming. As we see the battle for what is effectively P2. Nicolas Mecanos and Gabi Martinez. This is really heating up here, but Jacob Reed is clear by nearly 10 seconds as we're nearly half-time.
Yeah, I think he could stop off into the vineyard and get himself a glass of wine, and he might want it to celebrate that championship that he sealed up a couple of weeks ago. Did last week decide, well, I've got the championships done, let's try the GTO. It didn't work very well for him. Valenteas, he knows how to drive this GTO with ease, and around the outside defends on Jack Davis Pickett. The outside becomes the in, and the inside for Valenteas goes, and it, like Gandalf, it is you shall not pass. He got that move done. Now he can just look forward, and the gap is 8-9 seconds to Cal Young. I know you were saying earlier, Alex, that maybe, just maybe, I still think it's a lot to ask for, but if he did this, championship implications.
Yeah, and that's going to be crucial. The thing is that if Cal Young finishes behind Valentejas in third position, it's still going to be locked in for the number 7. So it's now about what can Van Hixer do, because he's right behind Mickey Frierson. I think that damage on the front end of the car is really hampering the handling characteristics of it. You know, he's using more of the curve in comparison with Mickey Frierson. You can see it quite obviously that he's having to do that, so at least the car rotates a little bit better through some of the corners, but you don't want to take too much curve.
Sorry, Alex, we've got some breaking news. Jacob Reed had a disconnect, and check the leader is out of the race. The leader's out of the race. Where is Jacob Reed gone? He's nowhere to be found. Mecanos is in the lead. This is a battle for the lead now.
Oh, just when you know, it's a bit like buses. You know, you wait for 1 and 2 come along at the same time. We've had 2 disconnects in this race so far, and that just goes to show how difficult it can be. Cottisalo to the outside of Roman Bello gets through at turn 3 at the crest of the hill. Again, we're seeing that the GTOs, you're able, not just the GTOs, but also the GTPs, to be quite creative on how you overtake. I mean, especially with the fact that, what was it, within 10 minutes, GTP started lapping the GTOs. But look at Van Hixer. He's got Lescala just in front, and then behind he's got Andreas Schuster in the Alitalia livery, number 8. So Van Hixer is seeing things, yeah, that is just massive damage. And yeah, we're going to have a look at the GSRC replay here. And this is Jack David Spickett. Comes out of the... whoa, no. Jack David Spickett turfed into the wall because Johan Van Hixer had nowhere to go, and Mickey Frierson dodged a bullet.
And Van Hicks has to take a pit stop. He doesn't have a mechanical black flag, but he's got too much damage. He's got too much damage on that car, and it is absolutely smashed. Jack David Spickett went around the corner, and the car got stuck in neutral, and there was no indication that any driver, it was no indication. Now, is this a slowdown? No, it's a pit stop. It's a pit stop. I think you can say it now. It's unfortunate for Van Hicks. The second time the championship has gone to Sonoma, and Van Hicks finds himself losing the championship to a crash. This, providing Cal Young actually stays alive, will be Cal Young in the championship. Van Hicks does take some damage. He has to try and stay on the lead lap, or on the lead lap of these drivers, but I think it's going to be all for naught. Jacob Reed is back in the sim as well. That's good to see, but I think this is championship seal.
Yeah, I think with the undulation, the technicality here at Sonoma Raceway, it was always going to be that case of something's got to give, and unfortunately the thing that did give was Joran Van Hixer's push for the title. That moment with Jack David Spickett, it just meant curtains. But Van Hixer is out, back on circuit. I think that's probably going to be Jack David Spickett's race done and dusted there, Craig, I'm afraid, because that was a big hit with the front end hitting the barriers after the contact. But like I said, Van Hicks had nowhere to go. He was blindsided, had literally a split second to react, and all he could do was end up hitting the back bumper of Spicket and turning him into the wall.
It was unfortunate what happened there. He had nowhere to go. And it was also blindside. Remember that downhill section there can throw drivers off at what is de facto turn 3, de facto turn 4, no matter depending on what, or even 5 really, depending on what track map you've got. Different places with different track numbers or corner numbers as Leskola battling Mickey Freeze, and Mickey continues to lock that inside tyre. And that's kind of a characteristic for the GTOs around here, that they will do a lot of locking, but it allows Gabriel Martinez to have another close battle with a driver for the lead of the GTP. The last time he was in a battle this close to the lead, it was a last corner, last lap lunge on Jacob Reed. And I don't think he'll be able to do that Mechanos today. But remember what the last braking corner is. It's that very big hairpin. I don't want him to go Tony Stewart on anybody, but he's got the opportunity. Yeah, exactly. I think you know what I'm on about.
I know exactly where you're going with, and I'm not going to say any more because I'm going to plead the fifth. As on the flashes is Mukonos as they go to the inside. This is going to be very, very hairy, but can Martinez get the traction out of the corner? Looks like he's going to try and do something a bit scary here. He nearly threaded the eye of the needle through the chicane complex, did Martinez, but he's just got to wait and bide his time. If Mukonos makes a mistake, Martinez will need no secondary invitation, will not hesitate to slingshot past the number 12 for the race lead. As they go into the hairpin once again, Martinez deeper on the brakes, tighter to the inside wall, and out of the final corner they go, across into the start-finish complex. And there you can see that Mukonos not turning in as tightly as Martinez, is able to get the power down quicker, but Martinez is stronger on the brakes.
Yeah, and I also feel that the track is starting to cool down a little bit as the sun had gone away for a moment, and there it is, it's back again. So with about 33 Celsius, it got at one stage up to 37 Celsius, so that's quite a bit of a difference those 4 Celsius can make on the drivers, as Martinez still looking for opportunities. But as he came out that Estes complex, he was slower, and I wonder if he's running a little bit different of a different setup around here today, because it did feel like he was losing a little bit of that grab. Van Hicks has come into the pit once again, just to let people know that damage is not going away. And unfortunately, that could be title done. But Gabriel Martinez would love to get this done. And remember, if he crashes out, he may be losing his P3, his P2, I mean, on the championship standing for the GTP. This is what he needs right now. A little bit of a hold up there as well. The GG from Van Hicks has been called. Cal Young is the GTO champion. But Gabriel Martinez, he wants that P2 in the GTPs.
Yeah, they just passed Mickey Frierson out of the final left-hand kink. Up the hill they go into turns 1 and 2, and then into the crest here at 3. Martinez again. I think he's just waiting, but the thing is, you can only wait so long to tee up an overtake, and if Martinez is going to be a little bit braver on the brakes of the Mukonos, then we're going to see the number 11 go through, make that move stick, and hope and pray that he gets through. But it's easier said than done here at Sonoma, because you could see they're encountering back marker traffic around most of the corners. So Martinez is always on the back foot, because Mukonos can read the situation, react accordingly, and then Martinez has got to do, expedite the move quickly himself. But he goes a little bit wider this time to try and see if he can fire it out the corner quicker. However, he hasn't got the traction pull that Mukonos has at the moment. And did you see that through that right-hander? Mukonos' car was absolutely stable at full throttle. Crazy.
Yeah, he's got that thing going. Remember, this is the last time we get to see the beast, the downforce of the GTPs. When the changes come in next season, it's going to be all so different. So who's going to have the bragging right to be the last man, the last driver to win in a GTP, the old spec GTP? Could be Mechanos. It could be the playman of Gabriel Martinez. Wait and see. There's only 11 minutes left to go. And the interesting thing, with that Jacob Reed disconnect, that also lowered the race distance in terms of laps. I think we were almost looking at 32 laps had Jacob continued to just be so fast with his drivers. Well, he had a game crash, unfortunately, and he's now back into the pit. Jack Davis Pickett's retired. Jacob Reed is back out there. He'll be battling with Valenza Jack for P12 at the end of the race. Lundberg still in the lead, but that's going to be interesting because now they're definitely going to be 31 laps. Might have pushed for 32 had we had Jacob still leading the race. That's going to be music to the ears to these two drivers. They know they don't need to think about any emergency fuel saving. They can just go hell-bent for leather to end this race.
Yeah, I still remember the fuel-saving drama last season at Okayama, if you might remember that one, Craig. We had people doing so many splash and dashes as Mickey Frierson trying to get through on Eukoleskala for P4. A little bit of contact between fenders, but they do say rubbing's racing.
And remember, this is mainly a NASCAR track nowadays, so they do a lot of rubbing on the plexiglass body, but these aren't plexiglass, these are proper bodies out there because this is what they used to drive with Quartasalo. Still looking to make some moves. Remember, he's -4 for the day, not had the race he was really hoping for out there today. As well, just the way it goes sometimes, and sometimes when you've got the grids that split like this, sometimes just having that moment just means it's tougher. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's tougher. From the day for Quartasalo, nowhere to look for on Josh Brain, and that's the problem right now, is looking for opportunity to make overtakes. Where do you overtake around here if it's not that hairpin? Not really anywhere else you can make an overtake.
Yeah, it's difficult because you've got to try and pick that one spot where you know you are capable of getting that car through, threading the eye of the needle. But sometimes you've just got to sort of take it back 1 or 2 clicks and just say, is it worth me doing that? Is there going to be any reward for the risk I'm about to take, or do I need to bring the points home to solidify my championship position? And at this moment, you know, Cal Young has not put a foot wrong in the GTOs here at Sonoma. We've got 8 minutes and 40 to go, and still the amount of passing. This is vintage IMSA Vintage series, folks, here at Sonoma. Like, literally, the GT, I know I said vintage twice, I don't care. But it's more the point of where do you pick your spot to get past the GTO that you know is the best part of 10 seconds slower than you. And the amount of speed these cars have. I mean, we're now seeing from Germany, briefly, Xavier Sanchez and Fabian Jungbluth have been playing GTP musical chairs over the last 10 minutes or so.
Oh, I like playing musical chairs. That's quite interesting. Timo Toika also battling with Aleski Aloma at the back of this field, and because there's 2 splits today, we're missing out on the end of the GTP and GTO juniors out there. Well, the top 2 sets in both of those junior categories are decided, but David Ricciardi was trying to make sure he got that P3 in the championship to Diego Mastretta in the GTP, and the GTOs, well, that was just a little bit closer. But as Timo makes a move, I'm going to say Martin Krajcik in the GTOs winning out. And he's in this race today in the GTO Juniors. Brandon White got the second, Fulton Pollock and Richard Hyman were battling for that third spot. Timo's trying to look for a move to really just solve this down, but just getting the worst of the traffic through the S's, that final part there. And I think he would be begging for the IndyCar layout to move in a straight line there. Gabriel Martinez is begging for an opportunity to make some time up here. They'll be hitting traffic next time by, and that'll be the last time with 7 minutes to go that he has traffic.
Yeah, it's kind of the now or never moment for Gabriel Martinez, because he's keeping within that half-second window behind Nicholas Makanos. So we now get this. Now, how's this for a camera shot, folks?
On the 007 camera, we're seeing Makanos trying to just look at it. And Alex, you brought it up earlier. I love it. Look how stable this car is. You're not seeing much vibration. A little bit of an issue as they came to Martin Shirley there, but that will mean Makanos has to take to the inside, and Gabri doesn't have the run. Normally on a hairpin, you could try an over-under. Well, there's a barrier to your left, the barrier to your right. You're stuck in the middle. You can't do an over-under at that track. Again, you can see why, Alex. There were tyres there back in the day, because then you could do an over-under.
Yeah, well, Martinez, again, just getting a little bit more friskier under braking. They've got one of the GTOs in front, so And this is what Mykonos does not need. He does not need to get stuck behind them. But look at Martinez. He's there like a rat up a drain pipe. He's waiting for that opportunity to strike. And again, Mykonos just trying to do what he can. Martinez follows in his wheel tracks to the outside. And Mykonos able to... okay, you want quick overtaking? Watch this, folks. Oh, Eloma has just had a big old moment in the meantime in the number 4 car, so standing stationary, I'm afraid.
Yeah, actually still standing stationary as well. A lot of damage on that car as well. Gabri still looking for a chance to try and make moves. Still nowhere for him to look for. They'll come up to that stationary car that had finally moved. No, Eloma's still there. This is going to cause a little bit of an issue with the drivers that they're not aware of it. Eloma's still there, stuck on the outside. Thankfully, no drivers trying to go side by side. And a slide from Martinez catches it. That's not what you want to do. Tires are going to be a little bit warm right now. You're going to have to calm it down. All the C words right now that it tells you to just relax. You got 4 minutes left in this race. You still got 3 laps to go, roughly, maybe even 4 if you're lucky. It's going to be tough. This is the last time through the traffic as well. And if there's no traffic, I don't think Gabri's got a chance.
No, I mean, that was definitely a Code Brown moment there for Martinez coming out of the hairpin. Like, literally, he nailed the apex absolutely perfectly, but I think was just a little too overeager on the throttle, and that was when the back end had a bit of a tank slapper, and that's why he lost all that time. But he's trying to gather it back. I mean, still 4 minutes to go. He's 4/10 behind. He's closing it again. It's just difficult to see that Martinez is going to have an opportunity to get past Mykonos. I can't see it happening, but the gap is now 2/10. So whether Martinez has found some time somewhere, or he's being a little bit more risque on approaching curves, exiting corners, and also being deeper on the brakes, as Valentasius now up into P3. He's 8 seconds behind Carl Young, who is 3.5 minutes away from taking the GTO crown here this season. But yeah, I think it's a case of, can Martinez do it? Well, many of us would probably think at this moment in time, with a 3 car length differential at points on the circuit, that it's running in the man from the USA's favour in the number 12.
Well, the 3-minute warning's coming up very shortly, and Martinez needs some help. And I'm just looking at the track map. There's not going to be a lot of help. Going to have to do this the old school way out there. The old school way, of course, is to just drive hard and drive it fast and drive it fair. This will be a corner that maybe near the end he'd look to try and do some late braking, but Gabri can't make that stick at the moment. So very crucially, going to have to wait for more traffic, and Valenteus up ahead in the right position to get by him safely. No moves there, and also key for Mykonos. He didn't lose some time, but look at him mount the curve, attacking every part of the track. They'll come on by with 2 to go. I know it says 2 minutes left. It's definitely going to be 2. We had the 3-minute warning. The NFL is about to take a timeout. It's going to be a 2-minute warning. 2 to go. Where is Gabri going to do it?
He's got to carry some speed through here up the hill, and they brake at pretty much the same point heading up the incline. And you can see Martinez's back end is absolutely squirreling for traction. He tried to light up the rear tyres, get the traction down. There is some back marker traffic ahead as they come down the hill, but look at Mykonos, easily able to pull away from Martinez. But again, you see the differential on braking. Mykonos has got to time it, and there, he gets the power down early, and even with a touch with the right rear wheel on the dust, he still had the throttle completely and utterly buried, and Martinez just has no answer. It's like, what do I need to do to get a W at this point in the series? It's the last round, last chance saloon, and it's going to be one more lap to go. It'll be white flag this time, and Martinez has thrown everything at Nick Mykonos, and that includes the NFL playbook here in California.
Well, I don't think you want to throw the NFL playbook. That's a very heavy playbook. That's a very heavy book as well. I think old Jake Berry would have a little bit of a word about that rule book. Fabian Jungler still trying to get past Javier Sanchez, who decided to dress up as an American today with that livery, but Fabian's still looking as the white flag has come down. Is there going to be a move for Fabian? It gets blocked off. I can't remember the last time we saw McCannell's on at the top step, but it could be once again we see Nicholas out there, and Gabriel again goes a little bit too wide as they enter to the carousel. There is some lap traffic up ahead. It's a lap GTP. It'll be a Lesnar Jack. Maybe he will just take that lap so he can just not have to go around on his own. Well, that's the way I would do things, definitely. But now cometh the hour, cometh the driver, and this is it, the final few corners of the season. Can Gabri find something? He has to be close enough, using all the dirty air, fighting through the dirty air. He will look for a late lunge at the final hairpin, if need be. The gap is 3/10, and he just can't find it. This is where he was slower earlier in the day, and the gap is still closing. It's still closing. It's too far away. He's still going to go for it as deep as he can. McCannell realized that right away, and he said, no, sirree. I want this to slide from Gabri. He said it all. Nicholas McCannell wins at Sonoma and takes it away from Gabri Martinez. Gabri finishes second. He'll take second in the championship. That's all that she wrote out there today. But what a drive after what happened to Jacob Reed.
And here we go. GTO is going to be Noel Lundberg, but Cal Young will cross the line in second position and win the series.
Takes the series, and not the way he would have liked it. He would have loved to have fought Van Hicks on the track. But that unfortunate moment for Van Hicks did cause everything and caused the issues out there. Valenteus takes home the P3, up 11 places in the last podium battle that he had out there. And here's the last little battle going on. Josephine Becker trying to battle Josh Brain. Josh is going to have to do it around the outside. He really want to try to do the over-under, but the tyres say no. I want to go home. The tyres gave up. Josh never gave up. Josephine's going to hold on for that P8, and Josh will have to just sign it off with a P9. Still a couple battles left to go. I think Martin Shirley just misses out on 11th overall. But look at the celebration. I see the donuts by the drivers. They're happy. Cal Young celebrating with a victory.
Kind of reminds me of the season finale of the Deutsche Turnwagen Masters when they get into one place, normally at the Mercedes-AMG Arena, and let those donuts rip up the local service. But here we go. Cal Young getting a little bit sideways, and Valentasius, I'm sure, well, he's decided to rearrange the rear of the front of his car, and here goes Cal Young. Gets a little tag from Mickey Frierson just for good measure. Well played.
Well, as I always like to say, and it's only fitting at this point, Cal Young, you are the IMSA Vintage 26 Season 1 champion. You have the right to burn it down, and if those tyres are back in one piece, you've not done your job today. It's a great finish, and hats off to Gabri Martinez as well. He tried his best to win that race, but a P2 in the championship is nothing to boot about. Best of the rest, even though with how dominant Jacob Reed was this season. And there's Valenteus, who I think will just hold on to that P3. We'll have to get the confirmation for those standings, of course. But as the drivers celebrate, and this is, of course, the final broadcast of these cars before the update, let's go to the standings, because Nicholas McCannell did get the victory out there. 2/10 was the final gap, or 0.285 if you want to be pedantic, to Gabri Martinez on Raul Roches Guardia. Went up 5 places, the hardest charger in the GTP, into third. Seamus Power will take fourth with Brendan Lim in fifth. Javier Sanchez will be in sixth with Fabian Jungler in seventh. Javier Mosquera will take eighth, and Timu Toika will be in ninth. Jonathan O'Shallen finishes in 10th, and the last 3 drivers, Christopher Lesajak. Remember, he had that disconnect. He had to come back out, but he finishes in 11th. Jacob Reed had a game crash. He finished in 12th. And Aloma had a crash. Not sure what happened. Had to retire early.
Yeah, and then we go to the GTOs. Noel Lundberg taking the win after 28 laps by a fraction over a second over series champion for this season, Cal Young. And also Audrius Valentasius, hardest charger in GTOs, up 11 spots from the tail end of the field to finish P3. Yuko Leskala, Mickey Frierson, Andreas Schuster, Doug Cloud, Josephine Becker, Josh Brain, and Martin Krejcik round out your top 10. Then we go over the page to the final 5. And, well, what can you say? This race told a story. Roman Bello, Martin Shirley, Elka Cotisalo, and then Joran van Hikse, his charge done with 18 laps in the books, and Jack David Spickett's race completed just 3 laps earlier.
Yeah, that one crash, that one unfortunate mistake. Well, not mistake, it was just the unfortunate. The gearbox said no at the end there and found himself in neutral, and that was all she wrote. That happened, and that's unfortunate. And of course, as we were saying, new changes to the GTOs and the GTPs for next season. Some of the drivers are really excited, really curious what's going to happen. And I think Jack Davis Pickett will be hoping that those little moments with the gearbox will no longer happen. But of course, the big news will be we will have some rain next season. That will be one to look at. But I'm just seeing if we're going to get anybody in today knocking on the door of the booth. And I don't think so. That's going to be all she wrote, which means I want to give a big thanks once again for another fantastic season that the IMSA Vintage community has brought us in for, and we look forward to even more down the road. I want to give a thanks as well to Alex, to Daniel, and to Dougie, who helped provide us. And just as I start doing that, we do get an interview. I think it's only fair. The champion's just dusted himself off from the rubber. He's just dusted himself off with the champagne. But Cal Young is here, and all I've got to say, Cal, you are a champion. How does it feel?
Yeah, thanks, guys. It's been a really good season. I think there was one point in the season where I didn't think I was going to win a race, to be honest. But yeah, second half's been really good, and as always, the racing is the best part of it. So thanks to everyone that comes along every week, really.
Yeah, you couldn't buy a win. You could not buy a win. Let's be brutally honest. And then round 7, you couldn't stop winning. A win, and then another win after you took a week off. It was just non-stop there. And I think that was the culmination of all the hard work. And today, let's talk about today. It wasn't the way it was meant to be. We were expecting you and Yoam having a little bit of a battle. Yoam didn't have a good qualifying, and then he had that moment out there. The first thing I will ask, were you happy to see it split? Because that was a big shock at the end of the day to see it was going to be not 55 cars, but just 28 cars overall.
Yeah, I guess there's part of me that always likes the 55 car grids, but in this instance, yeah, I'm probably pretty happy that it split today. It just makes the quality of the racing that much better, really, and a bit more predictable from everyone. So, yeah, I haven't seen what happened to Yoram. I was hoping he'd be up the front. We could have a battle, so I'll have to have a look at that. But yeah, overall, it was a good race. I don't think I really had the pace to beat Noel today, and I think if Audrius had qualified as well, I think it would have been the same deal. They just had a bit more pace this week, but yeah, overall, it's just been a good day.
Yeah, I can break it to you. Jack David Pickett lost the car. Well, I say lost the car. The car went into neutral coming around turn 4, and yeah, unfortunately, Van Hicks and Valentine and Friesen, all had to do evasive maneuvers, but Van Hicks didn't have time to react, and a little bit of a rear end there, which is unfortunate for Van Hicks. And on that subject of the gearbox, I was just mentioning it before you came in. New changes next season. New gearbox for the GTOs. Ray is welcoming. You'll be the defending champion. That's one thing to be really proud of. But what are you most looking forward to with these new changes in the IMSA Vintage series?
I definitely can't complain about the gearbox changes. I've had a few times this season as well where I've misshifted. I think Pocono was one where Mickey rear-ended me on the start, and Oran Park, I think I took the lead and then lost it very quickly from a misshift, so I can't be too unhappy about those changes. And yeah, the rain should be fun. I've not done too much rain stuff on iRacing yet in the grand scheme of things, but it is really good for the stuff I have done, so that should make it even more chaotic than it already is, so that should be fun.
Just a little bit more chaos on the classic IMSA chaos out there. Cal, it's only fair. We've seen you again in the broadcast booth, of course, but you are the champion. It's only fair. The floor is yours. I'm sure there's some shout-outs you would love to give before you let you go tonight.
Yeah, well, firstly, shout out to you guys for the broadcast every week. It just makes all of this more fun, I think. And shout out to Noel, Yoram, and Audrius for all the sets, and then everyone in RD Simsport on the team. So yeah, thanks guys.
Yeah, well, thank you, Cal, as well, for the words. Congratulations on the championship. You can go and rest, and in 2 weeks, we look forward to seeing you win the new season with that nice crown on your head.
Thanks, guys.
Cal Young finishes second today, but the important thing is he was the champion overall, and that's a championship he feels absolutely satisfied with. He interrupted our flow of saying goodbye, but once again, a thanks to the community, a thanks to Alex, a thanks to Daniel, and a thanks to Dougie as well. We've already done that. We get on with more racing. Sim Racers Republic, it's championship day for them. It's still live on the Global SimRacing Channel right now. So once you finish this, why aren't you there now, Ethan? Why are you still listening to me talk? Go there right now. Mexico City is the host of the final round of the Lotus 79s tomorrow, and that's the end of the season. But we've still got more racing. Portuguese Owners Club will be on Tuesday night or Monday night as well at Sebring, and then the Grand Prix Tour heads to Mugello on Friday. So that's going to be interesting. But what is interesting is the race that unfolded today. A champion led the new champion to the line, but the other champion, he could not finish. What's the important thing, though, is that everybody is still here, still driving, still having the best fun. And next season, it's going to get more interesting. What can Young do? What can the Jacob Reed do? What will Valenteus do? We'll keep our eyes on that one. You never know. But until next season, race clean, race hard, and we will see you on the track.
This is iRacing.